On this page, we're going to do a review of figures. Figures, their full name being figured bass, represent intervals above the bass. Figures, which are numbers, represent intervals above the bass. The instructions. On the treble clef, notate the pitches implied by the figures. Between the staves, ID the chord root and chord quality. The bass note is C. The figures are 5 and 3. We always put the largest number on top of the column. So a fifth above a C is a G. A third above a C is an E. It doesn't matter where on the treble clef I notate the fifth and the third. So first of all, notate the pitches implied by the figures. Second of all, between the staves, ID the chord root and chord quality. This is C, E, G. The chord root is C. The chord quality is major. D is the bass in measure 2. The fifth above D is an A. The third above D is an F. D, F, A. This is D as the root. The chord quality is an M. Measure 3. There is only a sharp in figured bass. A sharp, flat, or natural, all by itself with no number, replaces the number 3. So above this A is not just a third, but a third with a sharp on it. So that is A and C sharp. Remember that 5 and 3 is the normal steady state. It's the normal intervals that are to be there, but don't have to be. So the number missing here is a 5. So the fifth above an A is an E. And A, C sharp, and E is an A major chord. If there had been an A all by itself with no figures, it would have implied A, C, E, A minor. But the sharp all by itself, which applies to the third above the bass, makes this an A major chord. Measure 4, E flat in the bass. The third above that E flat is a G. The fifth above in the figures has a flat, which means that the note that is the fifth above needs to be a half step lower than in the key signature. There was no key signature. So a fifth above E flat in the key signature would be B, and because there's a flat in front of the number, we need to put a flat on the B, making it a B flat. E flat, G, B flat. This is an E flat major triad. Measure 5. There's a B in the bass. There is a sharp with no number. That represents a sharp on the third above the bass. The third above the B has to be a D, and we add the sharp because that's what the sharp in the figures stands for. The fifth above the B also needs to be sharped. Notice that there's a slash. That's a shorthand way of saying raise that fifth a half step. The fifth above B, B, C, D, E, F is F. We need an F sharp because there's a slash through the 5, and I add the sharp. Remember to stagger accidentals when notes are stacked one on top of each other. Measure 6. There's an F in the bass. There's an accidental all by itself, which applies to the third above F, A, flat. The fifth above F is the fifth from the key signature, so C, F, A flat C, F minor. I forgot to put the name in measure 5, B, D sharp, F sharp. That's B major. On your own, complete the page. Let's see, let's look through. Several of these have sixes. Remember that where there's a 6, what's omitted is the third. You not only want the 6th above the bass note, but the 3rd above the bass note. When it's a 7 all by itself, it's omitting the 5th and the 3rd. Those numbers are implied. Measure 12, that's the 3rd all by itself. What other number is implied? In no case will you end up with just 2 notes. If it's just one number, it's missing an implied number. Measure 13. There are 2 numbers, 6 and 4, or 6 with the sharp. This is sharp 6 and sharp the 3rd. A 6th above the E flat and put a flat on the 4th above. This is 6 and 5. This is going to be a 7th chord. 18 is also a 7th chord. Let's see, number 19, make sure you put a flat on the note that's a 3rd above the C. In measure 21, the 6th above the A will have a sharp on it because this has the slash through it. The 4th above the E flat and the 2nd above the E flat will not have any accidentals, and there is a missing implied number here. Okay, remember that if it's a first inversion, root position, if it is a root position triad, the full numbers would be 5 and 3, but they're usually implied. If it's a first inversion triad, you will see the 6th. You may or may not see the 3rd. It's usually implied. If it's a second inversion, you need both 6 and 4. If it is a first inversion, if it is a root position, let me say that again. If it is a root position 7th chord, you will see the 7, the 5, and the 3 are implied. If it is a second root position is 7, 5, and 3 are implied. First inversion 7th chord, 6 and 5 both have to be there. The 3rd is implied. That's the 3rd of the chord in the bass. If the 5th of the chord is in the bass, it is 6, 4, 3, but the 6 is implied. And if the 7th is in the bass, it's 6, 4, 2. The 6th is typically implied. Root position triad, 5, 3. First inversion triad, 6, 3. Second inversion triad, 6, 4. Root position 7th chord, 7. 5, 3 is assumed. First inversion 7th chord, you will see the 6 and the 5. The 3, unless it needs to have an accidental, will be implied. Second inversion 7th chord, the 6 is implied, you will see the 4, 3. The third inversion, 7th in the bass, the 6 is implied, you usually see the 4, 2. Some people just put 2. Your homework is to finish out, starting at measure 7 through 24. Notate the pitches implied or indicated by the figures, and label the chord root and the chord quality as we did in measures 1 through 6.